Okay, today we're going to talk about one of the questions that I get asked most. How long should my talk be? And to do that, we're going to talk about your feelings, what you're given, a story about lunchtime, and ultimately my final answer. Look, when you're designing a talk, it is about feeling. It's something from the heart. It's something you're passionate about. It's something that you're excited about. And if you really got into it, and one of the exercises that we do is kind of, think of all the things that you could talk about any given topic. If I was going to talk about the Blue Jays and what I loved about them, I could do all these things and all these great memories about them winning the World Series and going down to see them in the playoffs a few years ago, all these great things. And there's all these feelings attached to it. And so my feeling tells me I could go and talk and talk and talk. And that's good. But when we stop there, we stop at what we're feeling, that's when we talk too long. And my goodness, we lose our audience because it's all about you. You haven't even thought about them. So then we want to think about, what are you given? I mean, in any given situation, like, what's your time given? So if you're speaking on a stage, you're probably given a certain amount of time that you can speak. That's a really good, easy outline to say, how long should a talk be? It should be that long. TED Talks, there's a certain amount of time, but some TED Talks are smaller. Why do they do that? Sometimes when people are given a time, they go past that and it feels like it was really good. And sometimes we just don't know what to do. So if you're not given a time, give yourself a time. Give yourself a really tight structure to go by. But if you are given a time, my goodness, stay within that time. Which brings me to our lunchtime story. When I was running events and we would hire speakers every weekend, inevitably there would be somebody that comes in and thinks that their time is more important than our time and our schedule's time. And when you're running a weekend event, the schedule is king, my goodness. And I'll never forget this one guy who Friday night he spoke and he he got on stage late at night and then he speaks for way too long, even on Friday night. The crowd is pumped and he goes way too long. And then Saturday morning we're like, all right, look, today you got to stick within the time frame. And so he starts speaking at 10 a.m. Now it was about 10:30. The session started at 10. He got on at about 10:30. And he went, just him on stage, until 12:15. The first lunch was at 11:30. This crowd should have left. There was two split up, and they were supposed to leave at 11:30. At 11:30, he still went going. He said, I'm going to wrap up soon. And then he went another 45 minutes pushing into the second lunch. Now, my bad is, as the organizer, I should have just killed it. I should have given him the hook and pulled him off. But his bad was absolutely not knowing where his point was, where he was going, and being so off the charts with his content that he didn't realize that he was even getting hungry. Forget about the fact that there's 500 hungry teenagers here. You do not cut into a teenager's lunchtime when you're speaking. Bad news. He lost all credibility and the next two sessions were basically a bust for him. So that brings me to what you need. My answer when people ask this, how long should a talk be? Ultimately, how long does it need to be? Your talk should be as long as it needs to be to get your point across. That's it. So if you can do that in 3 minutes, then do it in 3 minutes. If it takes 30, then it's going to take 30, but it better be freaking good 30 minutes. So how long does it need to be to get your main point across? And that's the problem, is when people are confused about how long it takes or they're going too long, it's because they haven't figured out a very clear why, what, and how. Why do I want to say this? What does it mean for the audience, and how are they going to take this out of there? They haven't figured that work, and you haven't done that work. So if you don't know that, then you don't know how long your talk should be. But ultimately, it's going to be as long as it needs to be. We'll see you next time.